Daniela, you can read your little script and we can be on our way.
Okay, I can do that. I need a second on that.
Second,
Okay. All in favor? Carl Parisi, yes. Bruce
Aye.
made the motion, and Daniela Sharma, I'm saying yes. So by majority, we will go forward with that. Okay, I will now read the instructions for remotely conducted open meetings. As a preliminary matter, this is Daniela Sharma, co-chair of the Agricultural Commission. Please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Carl Parisi,
present.
Bruce Teixeira,
Present.
Rebecca Wilson,
Present.
and Kristen Remillard. I can see her. I think it's, can you raise your hand to sure, thank you. I think with the technical difficulties, and in fact, this recording, we can actually see Kristen raise her arm, so I think it's okay. Good evening. This is the open meeting of the Agricultural Commission. It's being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order as of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend all public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate freely. The order, which you can find posted on the
I think we lost you again.
confirming that you can hear me speak. Okay, thank you. The order, which you can find posted at the town's website, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting, the Agricultural Commission is convened by Zoom, video conference Zoom, as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and that take care not to screen share your computer. Anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair or co-chairs notes otherwise. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I myself or the other co-chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. As they conclude the remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. Please remember to speak in a way that clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair or co-chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in colloquy with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Okay. I think the first item on the agenda we can begin with is a call to order, which we have done via the script and the open meeting. Next would be a review of the minutes. I think everybody has had a chance to review the last minutes. And are there any questions or additions at this time?
Yes, I have a couple of changes.
Okay, Bruce?
Yeah, so Kristen, if you could go to page 3, towards the bottom where it starts with Rebecca would like to contact. You see that paragraph? You're on mute, I think.
I think Kristen is gonna have trouble, and the problem is if she jumps off, for some reason my audio is linked to hers. We are inexorably linked for this meeting for some reason. So I wonder if we can use the chat function here, or there is no chat function on this one. Okay. So oh, here we go. Her audio is not working. Poor thing. And I'm sure she has many things to say.
All right, so why don't I, Daniela,
Okay.
just for the public record, I will make my comments and then hopefully Kristen captures them. If not, I can just send her a mail note after the fact. So on page 3, the paragraph towards the bottom that begins with Rebecca would like to contact the planning board. I would just like to have added to that I have already done some of this work and I've sent out the feedback to the board in the past from the land trust, as well as the conservation committee on land that can potentially be used and what their response was relative to that. So that work has been done. It's in an email chain. And then on the last page, under the paragraph beginning with note further research. So again, I have in the past sent out to the board, there should be a couple of mail notes. There's a prior email that I've sent to you guys from the Mass Farm Bureau on how to engage with new generation farmers. And that's it in terms of my additions, if we could, please. And Kristen, if you don't catch that, just catch me offline. I'll shoot you a mail note.
Okay, thank you. Just confirming that Kristen is saying yes to all of these items as well. Okay. So I think that will work out just fine. Let's see.
So if there are no other changes, I would make a motion to accept the minutes from the July 15th meeting with the changes as noted.
So moved.
Do I have a second? I can second it, I think. All in favor? Carl?
Aye.
Bruce?
Aye.
Rebecca?
Aye.
Kristen is going to physically tell us her aye, or her vote, excuse me. And Daniela Sharma, aye. So yes, we are approving the minutes with the notes that Bruce has mentioned. Thank you, everybody. And next on the agenda, I apologize. I just lost my computer screen. What's the next on the agenda? Let's see. Oh, wow. There must be some internet connectivity issues tonight. And I don't want to reboot my computer. I'm afraid to. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. And let's see. At this point, okay, now I got it.
We lost your audio, Daniela.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I can't hear Daniela anymore. What happened?
So for whatever reason, when we can hear you, we can't hear her. I'm not sure why.
Oh, wow.
So now it's your turn to perform, Kristen. Maybe a little song and dance or
Yeah. I hope I didn't mute her accidentally. It's just I keep losing audio, and the only way to correct it is if I like leave and rejoin. So I won't
Danielle,
do that again.
I think you can hear us, Daniela. If you just try dialing in, can you do that? No? I don't have the agenda in front of me. Does anyone else to see what the second item is?
I do not.
I do. I'm pulling it up. We got through the meeting minutes, the open meeting minutes that we're on right now. I have here for our meeting, number 1, public input, number 2, action items, then open meeting minutes. We approved of the last minutes, and then 3, new business, 4, old business, 6, otherwise, so on and so forth, or 5, because I misnumbered it. So I'd say right now we're on,
There was no public input, I think, just for the record, right, as you capture the meeting notes.
got it.
Unless Daniela has any correspondence, no one else has joined the call, so I don't think there's any public input.
Yep, none of that.
What's the next one, Kristen? Sorry.
No, that's okay. It comes up as action items, which I would describe as old business, I would say. Open meeting minutes.
So what we could do with Daniela not being able to speak is if anyone has any updates relative to the old items referenced in the prior minutes that they could share and we could add that to the record. I don't have any.
I do not as well.
I concur. Same here.
Daniela, thumbs up. Oh, she's
Aye.
back.
Doing a little inception here.
Here we go. Cool.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yep.
Great.
Did we
Okay.
lose- Did we lose Kristen's?
Sorry about that.
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got both
Okay.
of you. Perfect.
We got both of us now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
We got all of us
Yeah.
now. Okay.
We were to the point of if anyone had any updates relative to prior open items that we had worked on or discussed, and three of us had said no, and I think you were next.
Yeah, I'm still doing some investigation on how organizations like the Farm Bureau and other government or nonprofit organizations would be interested in supporting us, especially when we get questions from our agricultural community looking for help. And as we are basically more of an advisory committee, it's hard because we can't jump in and make real change that way. But if we do have some backing or some information from these other types of organization that may give some weight to what we are recommending. The only other issue is right now it's a bit of a quiet time in the agricultural community. I mean, as soon as all the holiday things get done, they're going to be on their well-deserved break, probably the winter months.
Do you have any update on, or Rebecca, on item number 3 from the prior notes? Maybe it'd be best just to kind of work through the notes item by item with any updates.
For me, I have not heard. I've reached out to the individuals.
Okay.
And yes, I have not heard.
And how about the comments about the conflict of interest utilizing social media? Do we have any further updates or thoughts on that? And Kristen, I saw your mail note in my thought was I don't see that there's any issue with publishing this type of stuff on Facebook. The select board does it, for example. So there's no reason why we can't post the link to the meeting or in my opinion, post anything that we think is of value to the community, as the select board does. So I don't know how we can get a confirmation on that.
I will say the last
Okay.
conversation I had, which was again, admittedly in the summer, late summer.
Yeah.
So let's say August. I think putting out pertinent information that we think is useful for the community is always a good idea. However, I couldn't really get a sense that there was some formal rules and regulations about commissions posting their meeting links on Facebook. But if that is, I'm not going to say no to it. I was just trying to say, trying to follow any regulations. Therefore, but it seems like it's more of a, if you would like to do it, go ahead.
I didn't want to do anything without the commission's approval. I think everything that we decide should be as a group.
You're
agree.
absolutely right, Chris, and I definitely appreciate that. But here's a fun question, though. When we post things to Facebook, we will get some interest and we may get some comments. That has to be fielded somehow. Maybe not all of them, but perhaps some of the comments will be fielded. Need following up.
Right.
So perhaps as a commission, we want to think about how we're going to do that as well.
I would just comment that I 100% agree with that. I think that you, Daniela, Rebecca, you guys have a lot of expertise in the agricultural world, and I am like merely the new guy and learning about like all the backyard stuff. So there is like so many layers to this. Like it's like a sandwich. Like there's so many layers to everything, and it all needs to be like described so everyone can understand it in a technical way. Because the law is the law is the law, and people need to understand that to get through.
Point well taken.
So if I want to, I don't do Facebook. I already told you that the last time. I'm not planning to be on it either. You know, my kids and grandkids, they're having a ball with it. But obviously, all questions will need to be addressed, and all comments will need to be addressed. And so my point is, they will all have to be brought before the board so we can look at them and then make some decision as to what the responses are.
Well, I think we could, as a
And then
suggestion,
sometimes, be careful of what you ask for.
Well noted, Carl. Yes.
So, but I don't have a problem, actually. I mean, this is the way the world is today, and it could be a lot of positive stuff coming through Facebook as well, like some of the questions that we've had from regular people. They just want to know what's going on in the town. How do you do this? How do you do that? How do you get a hold of different farmers? There's a lot of new things in town. I mean, I know the farm right up the street from me, they just started this past summer. They have a whole bunch of goats in the back, and there's another farm that I found out that just acquired a camel down the street from me. Yes, and my grandkids were telling me. So that's something that, it's interesting. Who has a camel? Llamas, yes, but camels. So
They're cousins.
Yeah, exactly. But that's some of the information that is good to put it out there. So people go visit a farm and at the same time can contribute and keep these farmers alive. So things like that.
No, your points are very well noted, Carl. I think, and Rebecca can back me up on this, is it depends farm by farm and farmer by farmer at how public they want to be with some of their activities. And I think we need to always keep that in mind and be respectful of that. And while, most of us, or, all of us may be definitely proud of what's happening in our town, agriculturally, and we see all the good work that our farmers do, whether it's, plant or animal agriculture, and we want to do what we can to promote it. We do have to be sensitive that some people may not want to be so publicly, quote unquote, out there. Not everybody's doing it with a visiting agritourism thing in mind. Some people are, and we love to get the extra attention and free marketing. But some people may want to do it in more of a private fashion, as well.
I don't know, understood. I mean, it's if we want to advertise it, obviously, we'll require their permission. But as far as I know, listen to my grandkids. I mean, all the townies go there because they know it. It's word of mouth. So it is open to the public.
Yeah. Kristen, yes.
I think Kristen's got it.
Oh, no, I'm not saying anything. I'm just nodding in agreement.
All right, that's too many years of being a teacher. I'm like, I see a hand. Okay. No hands and screens. No hands and screens. No, that's from Bruce. Did you have any comments on that? On the meeting or answering questions in Facebook?
What was my thought? I think my thought was, I believe that we need to answer as a board, not as an individual, someone had referenced, which I agree with. The way that we could do that would be when we reconvene as a group and treat it as a public input item. So that's always on the agenda. If a question comes in, address it as part of the next meeting under public input. And that way we've got a common response as a board.
I think that's a great idea. Rebecca, what are your thoughts on that?
I think the same. It would have to be a public, as all of us, a public comment basically. And we would have to have an ongoing agenda item for that.
Right.
And
Okay,
also, I mean, it will also, you'll have traceability. So that some you can go back to, what did we actually say? What did we vote on or not?
Right.
So,
very good point. So perhaps this is an item that we can have a motion on, is to create a process wherein comments coming into us from Facebook will be added to the agenda as public input, and our responses will be discussed and determined at the subsequent meeting, and then posted back to Facebook.
so moved.
Oh, do I have a second? Sorry, Carl made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Bruce is seconding the motion. All in favor, Kristen?
Aye. Rumble,
Rebecca?
aye.
I
And Daniela Sharma, aye. Thank you, Bruce
Aye.
and Carl. I see the universal symbol for yes. Thank you, so moved. And I think that's actually excellent idea. Thanks, everyone. That's a great way to deal with and address the public input via Facebook. Maybe in the minutes, we can say other social media platforms, just in case, and not just limit it to Facebook. We'll be very, very 2020 and leave it open.
Leave all the language open.
But exactly.
So the fourth item on the prior minutes was Agricultural Commission current goals. And there was some dialogue about right to farm. What I would suggest is, in my opinion, what we should be doing as a board, and actually I think Kristen brought it up a week or two back, is we don't need to process this item now, but I would suggest that we should come up with 3 or 4 goals or priorities as a board of what we'd like to address as a group in 2021. And perhaps at the next meeting, we can suggest individually what our goals are, come to consensus on 2, 3, 4, and those will be the items that we focus on moving forward in terms of contributing back to the community.
Plan of action. Because not only are there action items from, our previous meeting, but it changes over time as well, and it could be rather fluid. So it might be good to revisit it, every time we have our meeting when we convene, is to look at our action items, make note of the progress and solutions, but also note that, or keep in mind that things do pop up regularly. And we need to, and especially season changes too. Season changes as our response and our experience with the pandemic is going to be changing. There, we need to be open for that as well.
So I don't know if we need a motion to add that to the agenda for the next meeting, or if we can just discuss it as is at the next meeting.
I think if it's sort of like a new business or ongoing business, that it just is subsumed within that agenda item.
Sounds good. Krista, did you have a question or a comment?
I'm not sure if you can see it.
I had a comment if,
Yes, Kristen.
She froze.
my comment is that, you know, like, can you guys hear me still?
Yes.
yeah.
Awesome. I was thinking, you know, of course, like these things kind of pop up over time and we discuss them, and whatnot. But I'm wondering, like, and we'll discuss more at the next meeting, I would think, but like, I think like if we even had just one goal, like one goal to work with in the next few months, just to be kind to ourselves, and make sure that we put like everything into like just one goal, if that makes sense. I think that it would be helpful to just focus on one goal.
I can get behind that. Sorry, Carl, you wanted to, you had a comment?
Yeah, I was just looking through the pictures. I'm not sure if you can see it, but here's the little camel.
Aw,
Here's my granddaughter, from my granddaughter. You see it? And this is
I can
local,
see
right
it,
down
yeah.
the street from me, but I gotta find out the name of the farm. I mean, that's incredible. I know she has, that she has sent it to me, but anyway. So much for that.
Non-native animals are always an eye catcher.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I would suggest that we start with Facebook. I mean, since seems to be, you know, let's put something together. Now, I'm not sure how the mechanics work. I mean, is that a site that we have to set up on behalf of the Agricultural Commission, or I'm not? How does that work?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's one I also posed back in the summer, because I was wondering if the Agricultural Commission could have its own page or just basically tack on to the Town of Grafton page. And maybe I'm more like Carl, where my interaction with Facebook has gone down precipitously. So I apologize, but does anybody know if the select board has its own Facebook page or basically tacks on to the Town of Grafton's Facebook page?
From what I can see, they use the town. They don't have their own individual.
Yeah, but I think it's strangely enough, I think the recreation department has its own Facebook page, you know? But maybe they need to, because their interaction with the public is very intense, you know, with people signing up and not, and so forth and so on.
Correct.
But my understanding, it sounds like, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, is that it's kind of sort of has to go through the Town of Grafton's Facebook page. And I think perhaps that may be the way to go. If the select board is doing it that way, I'm assuming that that would be the same for us.
Well, perhaps, you know, Joanne could give us some insight on that.
Yeah, or the, perhaps
You
the
know,
clerk.
what I typically see, and Kristen, you're on the same group as well, is there's a site that's called, or a group that's called All Things Grafton or something of that sort.
Oh, correct. Yeah, I've
That's
heard
typically
that.
where the select board or the selectmen post information relative to meetings or content or agenda or topics that have been discussed.
That's a separate commission.
That's what I was wondering. I thought all things
Yeah.
Grafton. I wonder how, I think that's an official municipal site in a sense. Yeah, you know. And I like to get clarification on that, and I may be a policy or regulatory nerd on this case, but I think those things sometimes are important.
Yep.
And you're right. I think everybody does mention things, and then you get dozens and dozens of comments
Right.
on, you know, relevant topics. So if we do post things via there, I think it's going to generate a good amount of interest and a wonderful amount of comments. And if I'm not mistaken, it seems like the commenting behavior there is immediate. You know, somebody posts something and then you'll see like everybody posting and asking questions, and they expect a quick feedback. So if we want to go a situation where we're going to take all those public questions, go to our next meeting and then respond as a board, we may not, you know, people are going to say, hey, it's been 3 weeks. Why didn't you answer my question? That may not work with our process. That's what I'm envisioning. Yeah. But if there's things like, there's an event we want to post and say, hey, the farmer's market or something is, I'm picking on the farmer's market, even though they already, you know, post in there. But if there's an event we want to post or something we want to bring up, that doesn't require us to have a meeting to discuss our answer to, then yeah, absolutely. I would love to use that because that's a great way to get information out.
I do have a question. If there is like, say, some chatter and one of us happens to be on All Things Grafton, would it be appropriate to post a comment such as the commission will respond to your question within 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
I would put at the next meeting.
Yeah, at the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Yep.
Because that next meeting could be in 2 days or could be in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
We lost her.
Uh-oh.
That could kind of discourage participation real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's the duality.
They would just have to
of
be
the-
patient.
Yeah. Well, that's a good one. That's the duality of using social media, that some things that take you know, official deliberation will not reach in what some people would consider a timely fashion. So I think that if I could recommend, I would say things on All Things Grafton would be something that we post, it's left there, and you know, we can refer to that event's website or whatever. But when it comes to something specific to the Agricultural Commission, that can be done on the Facebook page or link or our presence on Facebook. But basically letting people know that any questions, comments are going to be deliberated at the next regularly scheduled meeting. I mean, social media does require a decent amount of management. And even for something you think is innocuous, it does require, you know, a good amount of attention.
I do have another comment.
Yes.
And that is, you guys are either gonna like love or hate me, but I have kind of like done like a little tiny flip on social media, which means that social media, All Things Grafton, for example, is a group of 4,000 people, and we're a town of 20,000. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but the interesting thing also to think about is like, how do you interact with 1,000 people that are not on Facebook? So it's like, we feel like we have like this huge response on Facebook, when sometimes it only leads to misinformation and rumors. But then it kind of interests me too, is like I said, like getting out there and reaching the other people that are not receiving as well. So we've talked about it. So it's like, that's kind of like an anomaly, like that we'll figure out, but.
But there are other formal ways that people interact with the municipality and the different organizations. For example, they use the Stop Click Fix for not only for what you would think it would be like for traffic and, you know, but they will like reach out and ask the library, you know, are you going to be open on this time? What's your holiday schedule? They'll do it through things, and it's a very formal messaging system that then gets sent to the library director or whoever's responsible for reading that. And then they send the response back. So no Facebook required. It's just, you know, just a system, a service that the town provides. So like there's these other alternate ways that people do, you know, interact. And yeah, and perhaps that once we put the meeting information on the Facebook site for our commission, that we'll get more public input that way. And maybe we say we really, you know, want to get public input in our meetings. because, comments herein will be discussed at the next regularly scheduled meeting, and just kind of like stick to that script so that people know that we're going to be discussing and deciding at a board in a formal meeting and not bantering back and forth on Facebook.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Still pretty exciting to think about though, yeah.
I'm more like personally excited to like get back out in the world. That's going to be amazing.
So I think, Kristen, you made a good point about focusing on one item at a time, knowing that other things could, bubble up at any time. Perhaps maybe we should, think about what that one item could be.
So I'd propose, similar to my prior thought, is for our next meeting that we each come prepared to have one or two goals or objectives of what we'd like to accomplish, and then we'll come to a consensus as a group as to what that one or two might be, and we'll move forward.
Hey, Bruce, perfect. That will be our action item for the next, is that each member will come up with one or two, a couple of issues for which they think the commission should focus on, and we'll bring it up at the next meeting to discuss and decide.
Speaking of which, are we confirmed for whatever that date was, January 9th?
6th?
Is everyone good with that date and we can lock it down?
January 6th works.
I have to look at my desk calendar is only for this year.
Did you guys prefer the 7 p.m. or the 7:30?
7 is my preference.
Okay, I concur.
So that will be Thursday. Is that Thursday? Sorry.
Wednesday,
Wednesday,
January 6th, 2021.
Perfect.
Yeah, we'll have to check. I might have a conflict.
We can say that's our tentative date. Carl, you're gonna update us in case,
Yes,
there's
I
a
will.
conflict there. Yeah, thank you. Rebecca, how does that date look for you?
He's muted.
Right
Nice.
now, it's clear. The last few weeks with retail has been absolutely nuts. So it can literally change like a drop of a hat. So it's hard to forecast that far in advance. Right now, everything looks fine, but retail is retail and it can change very quickly.
Point well taken on that.
Why don't we lock it down for now so that we've got a date, and then a week or so prior to, we'll try and button up and make sure it's good for everyone.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Thanks, Bruce.
I should have an answer by tomorrow, definite answer.
Oh, great. Thank you.
All right, the actual date is what, January 6th?
The 6th.
The Wednesday.
Yep.
I think, Daniela, the only other item from the notes was if there might be an update on the Bruce Spinney project.
Good point. No update that I have so far.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, I don't know if that's because of there's any resolution or this issue hasn't come up because no one's making any motions about land or property at this point in time.
Sure. Was there anything else to discuss or any new business? Or I think we covered,
Yeah, I think we covered all our items.
right?
Unless, I think the last, formally is to ask the members of the commission if there are any other items that they want to bring up at this meeting.
Nothing for me.
No?
Same here, nothing for me.
All right, Carl?
Nothing.
All right, Kristen, Rebecca, anything?
Nothing that I'm aware of.
I think because it's the winter, the cold time, things have kind of quieted down a bit. So, and same here, nothing from me at this point in time. So if there are no other comments from the members, then can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Carl, thank you. Can I have a second?
Second,
Bruce, thank you. All in favor? Kristen?
Rumblard, aye.
Rebecca?
I
And Daniela, I. It says 8:05 adjourn. Thank you, everyone. It was nice to see everybody and thanks for sticking with it, even though we had interesting technical adventures.
A very Merry Christmas and a
I
Happy
will
New
know
Year.
better next time.
No, I think it was some other interesting permissions issues perhaps.
Oh, actually, while you're
Like so-
talking about that, just before everybody was trying to sign in, Joanne said that somebody should be appointed as the host.
The host,
I
right?
said- And I said, I don't mind to be the host. I don't have any problems. I'm usually prompt. But if anybody else, or if you want to be, contact Joanne tomorrow. I don't have a problem.
Oh, I appreciate that, Carl. Yeah, I think the host is just the person who is able to click on and let people in, as needed.
Right, exactly.
But I think there's some other things going on because you can see both my screen and Kristen's have the same name again. So, like I said, I think there's other things going on.
Well, we'll find
Yeah.
out.
Okay,
I have to be frank with you guys and just tell you that the computer I'm using for meetings is it's a very inexpensive computer, and of course, previous meetings are pretty smooth, and this one was just a mess.
I have to say.
So I
with
had
my
a lot of
Yeah, I think your computer is just fine. I mean, it's internet and bandwidth at this point in time, and some other
Oh,
interesting things. Yeah, so I think you're good to go. As my IT husband always says, stop blaming the computer, it's the internet. So
Oh, okay, cool. I'll call Verizon.
yeah, I have Verizon as well. All right,
I
thanks
got Verizon.
everyone.
I got
Have a
Verizon.
Have a good
Merry
day.
Christmas, happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas. We'll see you in the new year.